Well, how y'all doing?
Very good.
Well, I tell you what, it's I'm happy. I'm happy as could be to see these guys smile, and they were able to, and it was cool. And I was glad to see the way that they responded, because they got we were in a battle at the beginning of the game, and it was frustrating for them, and you could see things in their eyes, and the way they came out and battled their tails off and fought to finish their jobs, and found out that they could have the success that they were capable of, and started making plays. And then we talked about it in here a few days ago. You get a little spark lit, and if you can get some gasoline on that thing, it can make some things roll. And so I'm just happy for those guys. They're smiling and they're happy and they're feeling good. They got to play the game that they love and smiled and finished it the way they wanted to. So that's the biggest thing that I'm excited about, and that's what I got for you. So what you got for me?
It's like, if you feel like Bar's earned the right to be the starting quarterback moving forward.
I think we got good quarterbacks. I thought you were going to ask me if Duke should have been the starting quarterback. No, I think those guys did a great job. They battled their tails off, and I think we got two guys that have battled to be able to be worthy of being the starting quarterbacks, and we got to keep the competition going and keep them working well together. I think they've done a good job of working well together, and we'll continue to make it grow, and we'll always evaluate it. As it continues to progress.
It's been a little bit over a decade since you were a head coach,
Has it been that long?
Sorry, being a D1 head coach again, was there an oh shit moment for you, kind of in game day responsibilities, and maybe some things you forgot about or the stress of the moment, things of that nature?
Well, I don't know if I would say it quite like that, but going back into that role and needing to be able to play that role, because I've done paid attention to some different things, and had to pay attention to the role of orchestrating the game and doing things in that fashion. And it flashed back to me, and those were things I tried to make sure I worked to manage throughout the course of the week, and it got more comfortable as the game went on, and so it's something that it was a quick flashback, I guess, put it that way, and it felt comfortable. It'll continue to feel comfortable, and the biggest thing of all, I'm really, really proud of this coaching staff and the way they responded to take care of these players. It was awesome the way that the communication was today and the things that they were doing for the players. And I can't emphasize that enough as we went through the way that this week progressed, and putting their attention towards helping these guys have their success and find a way. You can look at anything any way you want to. You can see the good, you can see the bad. We found a way to find what can happen and where the opportunity is. Opportunity could be now here. Well, it was, and they took advantage of the opportunity, and it came. The players did it. We all stood on the sideline. But I think our coaching staff did a hell of a job helping those guys get to that point. Now I'm fired up about that.
Hank said maybe in the first half played down to the level of the competition a little bit, was frustrated by that. Did you agree with that? And how do you break out of that in the second half?
Well, I would say that we didn't play very well in the first half, but I think it was in the parts, and that's what I wanted. That's what I talked to the guys about at halftime. We had a nice extended drive and we made something happen, and then we didn't finish some things, and we didn't. Some of it was finishing some blocks. I'm talking about when we were on offense, and just make sure we take care of the ball. On defense, we had done some very good things, but then there was 2 third and forevers that we had able to be converted. Now we took the ball away and we did some things there where there was too many penalties for my preference, especially in the first half. We got to be better clean with our hands. That we got 3 holding penalties on defense in the first half, and then we had an emotional penalty, and but we just kind of focused on. They got a chance to see everything that they needed to at halftime, but the communication that we had was just, hey, pay attention to things that have been good and what you're capable of doing. Wipe all that other stuff away, because the frustration was there and you could see it. And so I don't know if you say play down to the tension. Those guys were sky high and they were fired up to play against us. But I don't think that I think we played, and then when some things happened that was bad. Well, there's a mountain of bad has happened to us already, and it had to be overcome, so you got to fight through that. And that's where they did in the second half. They fought through it, and I think that's the biggest thing of all. And then when the success started to happen, well, now we could go and we could continue to roll. And I would like to think that could help us as we move forward. It's just the beginning, but they need to be able to crack through that wall, if that makes sense what I'm saying to you. And so I don't know. I think they took some good steps. And we've got to continue to move forward and get ready for the next opponent's a little better than these guys were. And these guys fought their tails off. It's a good football team, and we were able to overcome.
Coach, 2 players that were mentioned as far as their voices having an impact was obviously Anthony Hankerson Aiden Sullivan. Both of those guys, including Hank, obviously firing the guys up coming out of half. How crucial were their voices to turning this thing around in the third quarter?
I think they were huge. I really do. Hank, he's one of our captains, and our captains were anointed by the football team. Their players, their teammates told them that their voice mattered to them. So, I think that's an awesome thing with Hank. And you don't have to just be a captain to be a leader. And Aiden provides a lot of emotional leadership in the way that he plays. He's. I think that's a spark that was good for some things. I think that when they hear things from Hank, and I think our other captains did a great job of things too. It happened throughout the course of the week. I met with captains before we even got the whole team together on Tuesday when we got ourselves started. And they need to have some power because their teammates told them they got power, and so we've got communication between us, and I think that has helped things as we went on. So I think those are two great guys that obviously it showed and did some really good things tonight, and I think that there's a few more of them that now that they've been able to taste success and have some fun and had fun playing the game they love and made some plays they found that they're capable of that maybe they didn't make before, well, that's how you make it happen again. And I tell these guys it all the time. They've heard it from me a million times, and they're going to hear it a million more. If you can do it some of the time, you can do it all the time. You got to make it a habit. If it's a habit, then it happens a little bit more often. So that's a longer answer than you probably wanted, but I think those are two great voices. But I think there's a few more in there if we can keep it rolling.
Did you see the shirtless students up at the end zone that were going crazy in like the first quarter, second quarter? It was just like 200 guys swinging their shirts around.
I can't tell you. All I saw was on the field. I don't look up in there. So tell me what happened. There was a bunch of...
Yeah, there was just, they did it at Oklahoma State earlier, but today, Oregon State fans, there was a bunch of guys, students, just went up there, took their shirts off, whipping them around.
I think that's awesome. That's Beaver Nation, man. That's cool. I'm glad to hear about that. I might have to take a glance up there next time and look for it. Hopefully there'll be more of them.
Rob, your team leaders fired up their teammates at halftime. How about you? Did you give a Newt Rockney at halftime?
No, I wouldn't say it. It happened because of the players. Players did a good job. All I did was try to point out some things that I thought they had done well and some things that I thought they didn't do well and how they could make it be more better. And I might have said it with an elevated voice, but they said it to each other and they went out and made it happen. That's because of them.
The second half, you guys, I think you got about 400 yards total offense. Talk about the offensive line. You got some guys dinged up, so it's not at full strength. What kind of a job did they do?
Well, I think they did a really good job, and I think you saw it develop as the game went on, and that was my message to that group, was the fact that to keep pounding and overcome these guys. You need to go out there and take the field. I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm tougher, and I don't care if we're playing them or the Green Bay Packers. That's the attitude you need to have and go about it that way, and I think that they kept grinding and grinding, and I think they were able to then break it and make it work to our advantage, and I think it's because of the way they went about playing.
Coach, I know you already sort of referenced it, but I want to go into a little more detail because the past 2 weeks have been a whirlwind, a lot of changes, especially on the coaching staff. This week in particular with a different play caller and you stepping in as interim head coach. A lot of teams that could sort of lead to more issues down the line, but you guys, you made it work, especially in that second half. Tell me about that coaching staff and how you guys were able to create the production on the field that we saw, especially in that second half, given the changes leading up to this game.
Well, I think you look at it, you got, we're professionals, and these kids' coaching staff is professionals, and there's what goes into doing this is more than just what people see out there on the field. We're pops away from home. We're a lot of things to all of these guys. We bring them here. We coach them. We teach them. We teach them things that have nothing to do with football. And so there's wrenches, and that's where again I take my hat off to the coaching staff because coaches are all going to go home to wives that want to know, hey, where are we going to live and what's the new job going to be, and situations like that all come about, and they've got to be able to channel that and focus because the thing that's the most important is these players. And so, I think you take a look at these guys and your profession says coach, that's your title, that's what you do. They embraced that and they made it about the kids and the players, our young men, and how they could help them be more better. So I think that's that's a lot of stress. And like I've said before to some of y'all, we're the ones that are the adults in the room, and we're the leaders. We've got leaders amongst the team, but it's our responsibility to lead the team. And I think this staff led their guys and helped them get to the point that they needed to and find where the opportunity now lies. There were some messages that we gave to them throughout the course of the week, and being able to, you've got to make a situation more comfortable. You got to find what the opportunity is. You can find bad in everything you do in life. It doesn't matter. Y'all tell me, is that half full or is it half empty? Oh, that's pretty near full to me, okay? And that's the way you got to make it do. And if you look at a situation that way, where you find the good, then you're going to impact the people that are around you that are maybe not seeing it yet. And so this coaching staff, I think, helped spark that. Those leaders that we talked about helped spark that, and the way that these guys worked throughout the course of the week, they got it to that point. And so, I think it says a lot for those guys. And I don't know if I completely answered your question or not, but that's the way we went about it. And I think the group effort that took place was really cool.
Rob, after talking to some of the players, it's kind of evident that you could tell from them that they felt like they kind of got 7 weeks of frustrations out in that second half, and were able, like you mentioned, to build off that spark. Did you kind of see that same thing where guys were just kind of letting it all loose after the tough season that's been had so far? I
do think that there's truth in that. Yes, you can see it, and you saw it in the way that they played, because it became a little bit more free and not tense. Because when you got the weight of the world on you, you end up being a little bit more tense, because the weight of the world's pretty damn heavy. But when all of a sudden you spark a little success, and now you're doing a little more free. And again, if you just trust your eyes and your training, then good things are going to happen. But when it requires some success to take place with that. Some wins, every play is its own deal. If I can have some wins within the battle, so if I pay attention to this play, yesterday's history, last play is history, the next play ain't here yet. The only one I can affect is this one right now. And if I can do it free flowing, then I'm going to do it better. If that makes sense?
Yeah.
And so, yes, I do think that we saw that go, and that's what we had talked. We talked to the players about it. You get the momentum to happen. When it starts to happen, you can make some things happen. And that's what we talked. Some of us talked earlier in the week. Had we finished one of those opportunities earlier in the season, this may have been able to happen sooner for us. Well, it happened now, and that's all that matters. All that matters is the moment is now, and our next opportunity is the next one, and we've got a period of time to get ready for that, if that answers your question.
Sure does. Thank you.
Last one for Coach.
Coach, you guys played your best ball of the season, the second half of this game here tonight. We saw a lot of Jabari in the second half. Can you talk a little bit about his performance tonight, what you liked as far as how he controlled the offense, was able to improvise with his legs, and could we see a little more from him earlier in the game and not the second half moving forward?
Well, I think you're going to continue to see that, and that's something that we've been working to get done over the past few weeks anyways, is trying to get him more and more involved. And we were able to make that happen more so today, and he took advantage of his opportunity. And that's all I can do, all any of us can do. When we get the opportunity, what are you going to do with it? Go run with it. And force your way. Make it, play so damn well you can't afford to take you off the field. And everybody should have that attitude towards it. I'm really proud of him, man. He did an awesome job. He sparked some great plays. And he's got some ability with, he's got some ability that people have to deal with, because you can't just worry about this. You got to worry about what he's able to do, whether it's the run game or the throw game. And he made big plays doing that tonight. So that was cool. I look forward to seeing more of it. I think we've got a good crew of quarterbacks.